In my journey through Middle-earth, I have been enjoying all the challenges that have been thrown my way. However, I don't think I realized how difficult this is actually going to be. See, in the last video, I turned on the Fearless Landscape difficulty, which basically makes everything significantly harder. Given that I'm an experienced MMO junkie, I thought that I wasn't going to really have too much of a problem. However, it is a problem. Everything is melting my face and my little dwarf legs can't run fast enough. But that doesn't really compare to the challenge that I faced at the end of this video. Here's what happened. If you wish to see the whole playlist of my Middle-earth journey, you can click the link in the description below. We pick up this story yet again in the Silverdeep Mine. Now, I know dwarves like being underground shenanigans, it's kind of their thing, but this is actually getting ridiculous. Well, that's because I've been to this damn mine several times in my recent play. But I'm here again because a cave collapsed, injuring a duddle, a dwarf puddle that was not paying attention, a dingle, if you will, a duddle guard, and now there is a large amount of gold missing. Oh boy. Well, in this cave, there's now a bunch of goblins, blue crag boys, but they are really no match for my dwarf stash strength. Let's be serious. They're just kind of there and obnoxious. Also, a mildly annoying bit was I was trying to close this pop-up window for like the longest time while I was in combat, and for some reason it wouldn't close, and it became like the most frustrating thing. I'm getting murked by this Spider-Man villain, and the tutorial is like, hey, have you checked this out? Well, I slaughter most of these goblins and level up in the process, but interestingly enough, these mobs actually are causing some serious damage. Like, 2 or 3 of them are taking me down to 40% health fairly fast. I really hope this doesn't become a problem. I fight yet again all the way to where Gandalf prays the sun on this troll to find a dead Dourhand amongst the evil goblin boys here. That's not foreboding at all. I also get a really nice two-handed axe that is just a random drop. Now we are cooking. Well, we get back to Guard Captain Underwear, and now we can confirm that the Dourhands are still at their shenanigans and somehow are involved with the goblins in the area, which everyone's shocked, but I'm like, we just disposed their entire clan, and like now you're surprised that they're doing everything that they can to stay relevant? I mean, I'm just saying here. Well, we go into Thorin's Hall, and after approximately 25 minutes of wandering, we finally find this damn dwarf Dwalin, who is literally at the throne all the way in the back. Like, I don't know why I didn't look there first. And he's like, we gotta really go unalive those dwarves. He gives us a quest to head to Nog Lawn, which I read as Nogland, where you get lots of eggnog. That's where my head went. I can't help it. But I do some exploring around here in Thorin's Hall to see what they are up to, and I accidentally stumble across a Dance with Dwarf quest that apparently unlocks some new emotes. Okay, sure. Let's do it. What do? I just gotta dance along, and I failed immediately. I was actually a little bit frustrated with this, but it also took like 5 minutes for them to start it up again, so I just left. I finally find this damn dwarf who I needed to talk to about refurnishing some armor that I found, and he also sends us to Eggnog Land. I have some quests that I need to finish up around here before I head down south, so I approach the mountain where the evil spirit was lurking, and that sassy elf was I'm not gonna complete that sentence. Inside that same cave, I needed to gather some mortar ingredients to repair the walls inside of Thorin's halls. But like, these guys are 3 levels lower than me, and each one of them are eating up about like 20% of my HP pool. Good gracious, this is gonna suck. Well, I play Gatherer for a few minutes, and I take it back to the main town hub, but like, why is it every quest has us ricocheting all over the place, back and forth to the same places? Like, make them concise, at least. Woof. If I didn't have a mount, I probably would have already fessed up and paid for the sub, for the just convenience of it, because good golly. Well, I get the mortar, and then I am sent back into Thorin's Hall to repair the leaks. But on my way back, I am sped past by a bear. Now, this is one of the classes that you could have played, and I could have played it as well, but it's literally a bear just out-sprinting my horse, which is terrifying. Imagine Yogi Bear screaming past you at Mach 2. Well, the stars align, and Tinderella sends us off to Nogland as well. So we get a mountain ride from the stable master, and holy hell, this is what true speed feels like. This horse is so much faster than my short little legged guy. It's not even close. Like, I get the doors blown off, and good gracious. Despite being the faster mount and quicker travel times, it still takes me a solid 3 minutes to get here, which just furthering the point of how painfully slow my short little leg boy is. We get here and it is a quest hub, boys! So we gather up every single quest like the fetch goblin that we are and get to work. We have ones to find a dwarf in the wilderness, kill some lynx and some yogi bears, and also try to figure out why the stream isn't streaming. Let's be absolutely clear. We're the only ones capable in this whole damn universe to do anything about anything. Nothing can be done without us actually doing it. So for the first one, we follow up on another water flow quest, which is simply should just have a random dwarf to go and check out underneath the bridge to figure out what's blocking it. Should be easy, right? But no, of course not. We gotta send us down there because it's an epic quest. Anyway, we go into this ravine, and then for some ungodly reason, there is a thicket under the bridge. A literal tree grew up in the water to probably about 50 feet tall and then fell over, stifling the stream. Make that make sense to me. It was as simple as clearing the bushes out of the way like Obama did, but
Daddy, chill.
While I was doing this, I also get murked by a bear, so I don't know where he came from. He just spawned and chose violence. Well, I killed this goblin that I found on an island just because, well, to hell with goblins, and I get a new title in a D completion, the Goblin Slayer. Ooh, that sounds fancy. Well, we go off into the wild and fight and kill all the critters that we can find for the quests that we need to complete. But they're taking me down to like 75% HP for a single mob, let alone 2 or 3, which are absolutely brutal. We head up this hill to talk to a lost dwarf, but the music really starts adding up to the epic nostalgia. I mean, Howard Shore would be proud. One thing I did notice about these mobs and my character is that the evil eye has spotted me. Sauron is watching me like Kris Kringle does throughout the year. And when I'm in combat, he summons random squares of death as I get to, and I'm quoting, cocky. Well, the square hits really, really hard if you stand in it. And I remember the first time that I played on Lord of the Rings Online and my warden, but I was at like a higher difficulty because I remember the eyes popping up so much more frequently and it just being absolutely terrible. I think I was on like Fearless 2 or something. Well, after some more anti-pedal work, we meet up with Nos, who's talking to the thrush stones. And if it were anything other than a dwarf talking to the stone, I would have said that this was probably a little bit odd, but this is actually on par. Well, then he falls under attack by multiple lynxes, but they are no match for my big beefy swinging boy dwarf axe. And that was basically all we needed to do here. So it was time for a big quest dump, and oh, you can feel it coming. So the first follow-up quest that we get has us to go out and hunt some birds, but please turn your attention to this text. Hendravel have grown to alarming numbers. Those words are going to be important here in a minute. We get a few more follow-up quests, but well, the big one being now that we have confirmed that the Dourhand Dwarves are in fact working with the goblins, and now they are in the stronghold in the mountain. The stronghold has been occupied by gobbies for quite a bit, so why the hell are the Dourhands able to get in there without issue? They took our gold, so yeah, they need to die. Regardless, it is now up to us to get in there and get that gold back. And hopefully not die. I first say, hey, since we're out here with all these quests, let's go ahead and get these birds that are all over the place. Hendravel birds are causing all sorts of a ruckus with their alarming numbers. Yeah, alarming numbers. Those. You can't find more than 1 or 2 in this whole damn zone. I legitimately spend 15 minutes looking all over for these effing birds that are supposed to be everywhere. Lion-ass dwarf, man. Also, I get knocked off my mountain. I just need to show you this animation. This was hilarious. This is like some Family Guy ragdoll stuff. After getting most of the birds killed, I start my way up to Orados, the goblin stronghold. And now I have to be cautious here because there's tons of enemies that are very, very close together, and I could easily get overwhelmed. I precariously stab the ones I can find without over pushing myself, and I get all the way up to the top, and my target is the Dourhand burglar. But what I'm concerned about is the other 5 goblins in the immediate area. Well, my dumbass charges full steam ahead and tries to kill all these guys, but I ended up using my morale bubble potion, my health potion over time, and my immediate health potion, and it does like nothing. I am getting absolutely murked by these guys, but not before I can kill the 2 goblins guarding the Dourhand dwarf. Well, thanks to the VIP service, I get a free on-the-spot res, and now I get to fight the burglar one-on-one. Well, I kill him, and all of these goblins spawn out of the doors, along with the goblins respawning behind me. And I don't have to tell you what the hell happened. There was no winning this fight. It was just 2 deaths in the course of about 30 seconds. Well, luckily I respawned like right by the main camp, and I come back out into the open right where I needed to be. Before the burglar died, he said something about a war to follow, and the Dourhands paid like good money to steal a goblin prince. But now we're level 10, and the story's really starting to cook. This leg of the journey was pretty intense, actually, now that you have gotten out of the tutorial area and the mobs are actually not pushovers anymore. They are hard-hitting brutes, and it's like legitimately making for a good challenge. Despite my 3 to 4 potions, they did nothing to stop the mobs from absolutely wrecking my little pretty dwarf face. It really makes you think that when I am approaching a mob and calculating how many I can take, I have to take my time. I have to focus on what is a reasonable approach, because basically everything in this game now has the potential to obliterate me. Yay! The Dour hands are still hanging around and causing problems here, but it seems like they have a larger scheme to play independent of that Scoregrim boy that we saw in the tutorial. I think mainly because the Dour hands were betrayed by him. I'm not quite sure on that. This is something that my axe will end soon enough. If you want to see the whole series of me playing Lord of the Rings thus far, you can click this video here to watch all of my episodes. Otherwise, stay caffeinated, folks.